Renee DiVincenzo here, and welcome to Wednesday Business Tips. I am so excited that you are joining me here today, and I am super excited about sharing the topic about emergencies becoming your urgencies. How many of you have found that no matter what it is that you could be doing in your day, something is always popping up? And I will share with you, being in the field of administrative management for well over 25 years, as well as being in direct sales for over 10 years, working with independent consultants, helping them in their business to overcome some emergencies that I will be sharing with you today, as well as putting the pieces in place for them to even get their business to the next level. I've been working with solo entrepreneurs for over 11 years, and this is one of the areas that I find a lot of times when things just happen in the day, and how to process it, how to deal with it, how to put that solution together so you still can be productive in that day. And as an administrative strategist, this is basically what I do, helping business owners as yourself, putting these strategies in place. Some of the strategies could be understanding, how do you run your back office? How do you get those day-to-day operations done? How do you serve your clients and keep your clients loyal to you? And most of all, where do you want to bring your business? Where do you want to see your business in next year's time? I mean, when you look at where we are just now ending the end of March. We're now getting into April, and before we know it, the end of the year is going to be here before you know it. So when I put this together to help you to understand what is an emergency and how to handle it. So I'm going to share with you some information about how to evaluate when these situations come across. I do know at times when I had worked with clients, and as we're working together on certain projects, I do find a lot of times, especially if you have staff is always knocking at your door. This needs to get done, and how am I going to take care of that? And as a business owner, it stops you from being productive and where it is that you want to be, right? I mean, let's face it, when you own a business and you want that business to be productive, you are going to have to answer these situations. And, I was working with a business owner. We're working together, and I loved when they said putting the fires out. Do you ever find that you are the one always putting those fires out because others just truly don't understand how to handle it? So first of all, you have to check out you have to assess what that emergency is. And when you're looking at that level of urgency and trying to prioritize the emergency, you have to look at it accordingly. If it's a critical situation and it needs immediate attention, it may be necessary to stop what you're doing and for you to now address and help with that situation that is going on. Sometimes when you're working in an office, even when you're working by yourself, right? There's a lot of times when things turn into an emergency and you're now trying to understand what to do with it. For example, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but this can happen to me. It kind of happens to me a lot now when I think about it, but it's my internet service, right? It's just trying to, especially if I'm working with clients and all of a sudden now that internet goes out. Well, you know what? That's an emergency, right? And now I've got to figure out what to do. But I always will tell you, it's always great to have a backup somewhere where, the iPads, I know sometimes you need a little bit of an internet with that, or if it's on your phone, but this could be an emergency and you need to figure out. So a solution would be, if you know that you have a lot of internet issues, find a location where your internet is a bit more stable. Maybe you need to work at a virtual office. There's a number of locations here in the Flagler County area that you can look to if there are just specific times that you want to go there and take care of what it is that you need to take care of. But when it comes to communicating to the person that has this emergency, it is very important to be transparent. It's also very important to require the immediate attention that needs to be done, as I shared with before, but you need to be honest with that person when they're coming to you with this situation, and these steps that have to be taken care of to address it. Now, this could be something where you may want to put a manual together that if certain things do occur in the office, how do they handle it, right? It could be anything of a person coming into the door where that person wants to see someone immediately. You, as that go-to person at the desk, or I shouldn't say you, or if you have an employee, that person has to understand how to handle this emergency, that someone wants to see someone right away. So when you're putting these steps together for either your staff to follow or even for yourself to follow, because at times when we work for ourselves, especially if we're working at home, a lot of issues can occur, but there's only so much that we can think about in that time frame of what it is that you need to do. So having your information in place and knowing where to find the resources to be able to solve what that emergency could be going on. But you know what? If you can't drop everything that when it comes to helping the person out, be clear about it, set your limitations, and offer assistance that you can provide at the moment. So instead of just ignoring it or saying, you know what, I will deal with it later, do what it is that you can do, because when it comes to emergencies, and the reasons why it's your urgency to take care of it is because people want to be heard. They want to know that they could go to a person to get their get their questions answered. So if you are a team leader, or maybe you are in indirect sales and you have a unit, or you may have your own consultants working with you, this is an area that's very important that you need to understand, that because you're the leader, you will always at times get these emergencies that need to be taken care of and addressed. And it's important to understand how to do that. So when you're managing the expectations, be clear. And when you're speaking with that person, put a timeline in process so you can resolve that emergency. So if there's something that's going on in the office, or I'm just going to be using an office situation right now, is that you have to have a timeline of how long is it going to take care of what's going to go on. This is why it's important to have processes in place for emergency situations. Now, I'm not sure if you have that at the moment, but that could be something to look at when it comes to these types of situations, and what to follow with it. But you know what? You have to keep your own commitments. And I can't share how important that is, because as you are always the person getting up and taking care of whatever could be going on, and that's why it's becoming, your urgency to do that, you also cannot stop your own productivity, right? You have your own client base that you have to take care of, and you don't want to neglect them. So when situations like this do occur, be in touch with your clients and let them know that if you promised your client to take care of something that needed to be done, but because of a situation that has occurred, share with them that it may be taking you a few more days to do that. But always remember that your commitments are your priority, because you can't always be stopped in what it is that you need to do when it comes to certain types of emergencies that can. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, emergencies, there are big emergencies that go on. It could be, the weather's turning bad, or, it could be something where maybe the whole facility goes out and there's no electricity. I mean, there are emergencies that everybody needs to drop what they're doing and get to how to handle it. I'm just speaking about more today about when you are always the person where people are running to say, hey, help me with this. I can't handle it. But in some areas that you want to look at is you may want to look at delegating out the task when it comes to the emergency, say in the team member or like to the person, to free up that time. So whenever an emergency does occur, and you know what, you can even be looking at emergencies that maybe someone that's working with you is not feeling well that day, and then they have to go home. It's very important to have someone else to step in to take care of the work that needs to be done, so the person that is having this situation can take care of themselves and do what they need to do. But the business is still being productive. You're still getting that work done. So don't be afraid to delegate out tasks so they get done completely in certain situations. But most of all, it's really important to look at the situation and learn from it. Okay. And the reason why I'm saying that is you want to put process in place, so whatever this emergency is that is going on, you'll know what to do for it in the future. You'll understand how to identify the lessons from the situation, so others will get a better understanding on what to do with that. And this is an area too that you may need to update your processes. You know, you may need to have more resources. And this is something where I shared before about putting a manual together when certain situations do occur that could be to someone as in an emergency, where really basically it may not be such an emergency, and they will understand how to do these steps together. So always remember that emergencies do not have to be your urgencies, as long as you're putting the process in place, because a lot of it has to do with how people are managing their time. Is it an emergency because they're just not getting their deadlines in place and ready to do, and someone else now has to step in and make sure that deadline is structured and done completely? So having a time management course for your staff could be an idea too, where you may want to put a process in place about how they should be running their day. So if it's this type of emergency where deadlines aren't met, they'll make sure that they can complete in what it is that is need to be done. So if you do follow these steps as I just shared with you, you will find that people's emergencies, when they become your urgency, will always maintain your own priority. So when you have these manuals and what you want to put your structure into place, they won't be such, you could say, a big deal in the day. Now, if you are finding that you are wanting to get more information about putting strategies in place and how to understand how to work your own business, as well as maybe to work with the team, please reach out to me. I would enjoy having a one-on-one with you. Here is a barcode where you could scan, and we can have a 30-minute session. And you could share with me some thoughts or some challenges that you could be having. And I could share with you some ideas and strategies that could be put in place. So I hope you reach out with me with that. Please look also for my admin courses and my workshops, because my workshops there will also help you to understand what it is to, how it is to run a business. What is your why? Always remember why you got into business. Never let that dream die. Always keep moving forward, and put your strategies in place. So I just want to thank you for being with me today and learning and maybe getting a better understanding of how to reach out and understand what emergencies are and how to handle them. If you would want to learn a little bit more about what it is that I do, how it is that I help business owners, please go to my website at mdracs.com. You'll also hear video testimonials of clients that I have worked with and I am still working with. If you too want to have a support group, if you are looking that you would want to have a support group where you can talk to other business owners, get some other tips, learn more about organizational time management, check out my private group called Simplify Your Business Administration. Because we'd love to have you as part of our group and share a little bit about yourself, what it is you do. We'd love to learn from you, and also, join in your journey when it comes to your business. So I hope you join me next week again for another weekly business tip. Don't miss my 5-minute lives on Fridays. I share a little bit about myself, my journey, where I've been in business, and other areas that you might find helpful and useful for yourself to say, hey, you know what? I felt the same way. I'm not alone in doing a lot of things that you might find that you are doing. So I hope you again join me next week. I want to thank you for being with me today, and make it a great day.